on today's quick video, we're going to be responding to a question on PDF-XChange Viewer. So let's jump right in. The question specifically was, when you're making a comment or when you're writing something on here, for example with the pencil, is it always in red? Because that appears to be the default color. And the answer is yes, unless you make a change. And how do you make that change? Well, it's pretty simple. With PDF-XChange Editor, you hover your mouse right over whatever the object was. This is one way to do it. We'll go over another way. You right click on it and you come down to Properties. Once you go into Properties, a pane will pop up over on this side of the screen that will allow you to change things like the stroke color, the border style, the border width, and other items. So for example, if we wanted to change this to a blue, there you go, you can change it to a blue. If we want to change the width, we can change it, or the border style, we can go to dashed. We can go to, let's see if it'll let me do the down arrow. Nope, we'll have to select each one. You can do, there's a few different types of dashed you can see. And you can see as I push the down arrow, it actually does go through and will let me go to the different styles that you can make. You can also come in here to the width, and you can make it wider and wider. One thing I don't really love is how these portions right here, instead of scaling it and making these line sections longer, it just goes into this hash thing. It looks like railroad tracks, but that is okay. It still works very well. And then you can come into the width profile if you would like, and it shows different options for you here where you can change it. And if you have a different style, you can see how up here it's lighter, and then here it gets thicker. If we make this a little bit longer, it becomes a little bit more pronounced, but not very much so. You can change the opacity if you're trying to make it so it's not quite as obvious what you're doing. If you want to blend it in with the text behind it, you can see that that's an option. And then the blend mode, you have normal, multiply, screen. You have a bunch of different options that if you don't understand how those work, we don't have time to go over those in this video, and we'll have to see if we have time in another video. The one that I would use a lot is multiply, where it's actually blending in with the object behind it, but again, not a lot of time to go through that in this video. So that's how you change it the first way. The second way, let's go ahead and delete that, close this pane here, is you have the pencil selected. Right there, we can come up here, click on the Format tab, and it'll let you select any of these items before you get into it. So if I wanted to go with just a straight indigo, I can do that, come in here, make some changes there. But then you can also go in here and change it to whatever color you want that may not be up in this model right here. You can do the same thing with changing the width, the border style, the auto type, or the type of shape that this will be, the blend mode, the opacity, all of those options are still available here. So that's how you change the color of the pencil text. Now, because we have a little bit more time on this video, let's go ahead and hop into some of the other options that you have in here. Let's go into, if we're back in the commenting tab and we wanted to do, say we're selecting something. This happens a lot of times on construction drawings when you're selecting the item that is changed. You can put this little cloud around it, and with that, you're able to come back in here and again change the formatting this way, or you can right click on it, select properties, come in and do the same thing that way. You can, let me get out of that a little bit. Let me select this first. There we go. And if you don't have this item selected, you are then changing the formatting for any subsequent item that you're making changes to. So for example, if I click out here, you'll notice that this goes away, but if I click on that, the properties comes back up. If I'm back over here, let me say I click outside of that and I click, I'm going to make a square. If I don't have a square on the board and I'm making the changes here, I will select the option for all future items. So my default then changes as opposed to changing just a single item. So make sure that you understand what it is that you're doing on that. But the properties panel can be pretty powerful, where you can change any of these items to anything that you want. Now, because I have a square selected, I'm going to show you another little trick that I've used on a couple of items. You may recognize this document from our leases video when we were reviewing how to understand a lease and how to read a lease. So here I have selected this text in a square. This can be important if you're sending it to somebody else and you want them to review that square. Or if you're in a PDF and you want to make it so it's something that people don't see, you can change that to the background color. You can change this to a fill, and I just whited out an entire section in a lease. So now that is gone. So this can come in handy if you're changing like drawings or documents or other items that don't need to have this, but you don't have it in a format that you're able to readily edit, you can come in here and make those changes. You can also change the opacity if you would like, and this is where you get to see that. So you can see that it is now faded, and these two are kind of blending together. You can change this from normal to multiply, and then you'll see that you're actually getting both of them together, which can come in handy. So for example, if I wanted to highlight the entire paragraph, multiply then means that I'm adding a layer without detracting from the underlying layer. So a lot of different good options that you can do with changing the colors, the backgrounds for any of these items that you may add. You may do a call out, for example, that you type text in, and you want to bring attention to that. So for example, with this, I can come in here, you can see I double clicked on the text to highlight the text, and you can do the same thing in the format tab also. And then with that, I can change the size of the font. Let's say I want to go up to 22 font. I want to fill this now with yellow, which you would assume fills the entire thing with yellow, but what you'll see is no, it actually filled the text with yellow because again, I had the text selected. So you have to be careful and make sure that you understand what it is that you're doing. But if I come out of that, you'll see that it's trying to add another text box. But if I just click on the box itself, excuse me, now I'm able to fill and change the text in there. So a lot of cool features that you can do with some of the lesser known parts of this program. Now, a couple of other things that I wanted to go into. Let's go back into this comments line, the comments. So sometimes you'll come in here and you'll make a comment, and you won't necessarily want this to be something that anyone down the road can edit. Within PDF-XChange Editor, you can come in here and you can flatten the comments. You can export, you can do a comments list, you can do a lot of other things, but flattening the comments, let me actually stop there. So number one, you can see that I can select that comment and open it up. I can select this item, I can select that item and that item, all of the things that I have added here. If I click flatten, however, that will now, and I'm going to do this on all, that takes it so I can no longer select, change, or edit those comments. So now they become a permanent part of the PDF. Now I just undid that so you can see that I can come back in and edit them. Once you have flattened it and saved it and gotten out of that program, you are no longer able to unflatten those. You'll have to revert to a different version of that document. So important to know how to do that. Something else that you can do within PDF-XChange Editor is you can take these pages over here. These are the pages of your PDF, and sometimes we'll get PDFs that are not in order. So you can literally just grab them, click on them, move them around. You can see I just moved that one, the last page, up to the top. That's not where you would want a signature line necessarily on a lease, so I can just move that back down. But it's something that allows you to manipulate PDFs pretty extensively. There's another piece that I can do here. This is a document that I just pulled down off the internet. It's in Latin, it appears. But if you want to add a page under PDF-XChange Editor, what you can do is come in to your File Explorer. Let's see if I can get this to work on my computer. Here we go. Here's a File Explorer with a PDF sample text. In here, a different PDF file. You come into your PDF File Explorer, click and hold, drag it into this file, and voila, you now have another page. So pretty cool features. There's a whole lot more you can do within PDF-XChange Editor. I'm not going to be able to get into these. Wanted to answer that question real quick and give you some additional advanced features. I hope this has been helpful to you. If it has, please give us a like down below. If you'd like to see more content like this, do consider subscribing to the channel. And if you know someone who may benefit from this, do consider sharing. Thanks for being here. We'll see you on the next one.